Hey everyone, what up? Luke here from What Tech Review, here with a review of the Samsung Galaxy Nexus on Sprint. So let's get started. As I said before, this is the Sprint Galaxy Nexus, and it's a third reiteration of Google's flagship phone for Android 4.0 or Ice Cream Sandwich, along with the GSM and Verizon versions. And this one's basically packing the same things that you would expect on the other devices with the new updated operating system, and it's really one of the best Android 4.0 phones out right now. And of course it is Google's flagship phone, so you get that nice unmodded Android experience, and this one does include features that Verizon didn't have, like the Google Wallet feature where you can pay places with your phone, which is right here that I'll show you later. But it does pack some really cool features inside of it, and it gives you the ones you would expect out of Android 4.0. So without any further ado, let's move into the review. So just to go over some of the hardware on the device, we have a really cool AMOLED screen that looks great whenever you're looking at stuff on the phone. And the screen's just really nice and big, and it also has a nice curved shape that Google added in Samsung just to give it a nice little design touch. As well, on the front we have our front-facing camera, and there's no physical buttons on this because Android 4.0 focuses on having all on-screen buttons. So if we go in here, you can see that we have all the buttons below, like a home button, multitasking, things like that. On the side of the device we have a volume rocker. On the bottom we have our charging port and a 3.5mm headphone jack. And on the other side we have our on-off sleep wake power button switch, as well as a little connector there for Samsung's accessories. And on the top we have nothing. On the back of the device we have a really nice 5-megapixel camera with a LED flash, and you can see we have our Sprint logo here as well as our Samsung logo below. And overall it has some pretty good hardwares on the outside, as you can see, and I already talked about that awesome curved design, but on the insides it has a really great 1.2 GHz dual core CPU, 1 gig of RAM, 32 gigs of flash storage. So although there's not expandable memory in this phone, you still get a lot of storage with 32 gigs of space. And it also has an 1850 milliamp battery, which will give you about a day's worth of battery life from moderate use. Something that is different that we noticed on this device is that if you take off the back, on the Verizon version they let you put in a SIM card so that it's more like a world phone, so if you go somewhere else you can stick in a SIM card, not be charged for data overages or things like that. But on this device you'll notice that inside there's not a SIM card slot, and there's a little piece of plastic not letting you put something in there. So that's just a little difference on the insides. But overall, the two devices work pretty much the same, and they have pretty much the same internals in both of them. And they're both really great Google devices because it is their flagship phone. So next we'll take a closer look at some of the software that comes with this, Android 4.0. So the Samsung Galaxy Nexus is sporting the new Android 4.0 or Ice Cream Sandwich, and this is a really amazing operating system that Google came up with. The whole UI has a ton of contrast and darker colors, as you can see, really focusing on the darker side, and it's a really beautiful OS, and it's really sleek and well designed. On this device it's really nice because many of the carrier customizations that come on most Sprint phones or Verizon phones or AT&T phones, or no matter what phone you look at, has some type of customization by the carrier, whether it be their apps or the look or things like that. But on this phone it's kept really to a minimum. As you can see, there's not a lot of carrier customizations here, and most of the ones that I downloaded onto the phone were just from the Android market, and they don't come with a lot of ones built in. So they try to keep that stock Android experience that you're expecting out of one of Google's own flagship phones. One of my favorite features of this phone that you won't see on the Verizon phone is the addition of Google Wallet. And Verizon for some reason decided to take this out of theirs, but it's boarded right here on the Sprint version, if I go back. And this is a really cool feature that basically allows you to pay with your phone and use it as your wallet. Instead of carrying around gift cards and credit cards or debit cards or whatever, you can use this as your one payment device. And I thought that's a really cool feature that they've included into the phone. In addition, like you might have seen in other Android 4.0 phones, it does have a lot of updated looks. So the contacts look slightly different, the messaging looks different, the phone looks slightly different, and they give it a really nice new styling that's different from before. And as you can see, the app drawer is different. You have that nice little effect as you go from screen to screen. And you have all your widgets here, so if I wanted to insert this book widget, I could put it on a home screen where I have space available. So you can choose whatever book you want it to be a shortcut for. And they just have a lot of new features in here that make it a much easier experience. And it really gives it a lot of new functionality, especially with these on-screen buttons. Like if you're watching a video, these cool on-screen buttons on the bottom will disappear, and it'll make the screen bigger so you have a better experience watching your movies. And they have little touches like that which really make the experience a lot better. As you can see, here's our Maps app, slightly different than older versions. And they just really updated everything and gave it a new look, so it's a better user experience. This device will also be getting LTE 4G on Sprint once it comes out later this year to the multiple locations that Sprint's putting it in. But for right now, it's stuck on Sprint's 3G network, and it won't have access to their WiMAX network. And it's not the fastest thing ever, but we're hoping once they get 4G, the device will be significantly faster than it is right now. So overall, this device is much like the other Galaxy Nexuses that are out now on Verizon and the GSM version. It's a really great phone overall, and it packs a very stock Android experience that you would expect out of one of Google's phones. And overall, it's a really nice device, and if you're in the market for a pure Android experience phone, it's perfect for you. It's not going to have the speeds that you would expect out of an LTE phone since there's no LTE coverage yet. But once it's here, we think this phone's going to be super fast, and it's a phone that'll get you ready for the future of Sprint's network. Once again, this is the Galaxy Nexus on Sprint, and it's now $199 with a new 2-year agreement. If you have any comments or suggestions or just want to tell us something random, please feel free to email us at luke@wettech.net. And as always, rate, subscribe, and comment. Thanks, see you next time.